Supreme Court impeachment plan released by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Rep. AOC announced plans to introduce articles of impeachment against U.S. Supreme Court justices on Monday, after the court ruled that presidents have immunity for official actions. The court on Monday ruled that former presidents have absolute immunity for official acts, but none for private acts. Okay, slow down there, Newsweek. Absolute immunity only applies to constitutional duties. Official acts have the presumption of immunity, meaning there's overlap. They may not in some circumstances. And unofficial acts enjoy no immunity. Now, Ocasio-Cortez, a Democrat from New York, wrote early Monday afternoon that she would introduce articles of impeachment against the court in a post on X. The Supreme Court has become consumed by a corruption crisis beyond its control. Today's ruling represents an assault on American democracy. It is up to Congress to defend our nation from this authoritarian capture. I intend on filing articles of impeachment upon our return.
I feel like she didn't read the ruling.
Of course not. It's just buzzwords she got from MSNBC.
I feel like she is part of the party that always says, Donald Trump, won't you accept the results of the elections with no question and not conduct any investigations? Like, so are you saying we are or not allowed to question?
I have a question for them on that. Do you accept the results of the Democrat primary? Did the Democrats accept the results of their own primary? Because I seem to remember Joe Biden winning the Democrat primary, and I don't see anyone asking the question as to whether or not they will continue to accept the results of their own primary. I think every single one.
It's like you always say, it's not hierarchy. It's not hypocrisy. It's hierarchy.
That's exactly right. Did you guys see the Snyder ruling from the Supreme Court? Did you guys read that one?
Which one was that?
That was the former mayor who received an illegal gratuity and was criminally charged.
I
read about this.
Get into that one.
All right, so let me. I'll tell you what. This is why I can't stand MSNBC. Okay. So I get a message from a family member, and they're like, "Did you see this? The Supreme Court legalized bribery." And I was like,
"I'm going already."
I'm immediately thinking, okay, well, it's probably not true, but but let's hear.
Come on, we all know that Tim Pool's bribing the people of Martinsburg to get his skate parks and steal from the good skaters.
That is not confirmed. So anyway, so I'm having this conversation where it's like, yeah, this guy basically gives a contract to a truck company, and then a couple years later he needs money, so he goes and they pay him off. And then he gets charged for it because it's basically a kickback. But the Supreme Court said it was a gratuity. He got a tip. So it's allowed. And so, I end up pulling up the Supreme Court ruling. And of course, it says literally the opposite. Well, then this weekend I was hanging out at Charlestown Races playing some poker. And I mean, no disrespect to these people, my family member or this next guy.
Here it comes, folks. He's going to admit it.
Which one?
Tim's going to admit everything. He's going to spill the beans.
Oh,
Keep
right.
going,
Well,
Tim. Please continue.
So there's a guy sitting next to me. And as he wins a poker hand, he says, I'm going to need this money the next time I get pulled over because the Supreme Court just legalized bribery. And I'm like, did MSNBC put this narrative out by taking... Here's the real story. Gratuities are illegal if the intention is set before an official act to influence the official act. Bribery is illegal if something of value is given before an official act. There are quite literally two different laws in the books, and most people don't know that gratuity is a law in the books. If someone goes to a public official and says, I'm going to give you X in exchange for this ruling, a bribe. If someone goes to them and says, you rule in my favor and I'll give you X, a gratuity, they're both illegal. The gist of the case, as I read it, was they charged a guy for gratuity using a bribery statute. And the Supreme Court was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. If you do that, you're going to give someone the opportunity for a defense in that this was a gratuity, not a bribe, and the bribery charge gets thrown out. They were basically saying, make sure when you charge people for illegal gratuity, it is the right law and statute. Otherwise, they'll raise a defense because the payment came afterwards and you charge with the wrong law. That gets turned into the Supreme Court legalizes bribery because MSNBC and the likes of these liberal outlets are trying to trick you into thinking the court is bad or evil or wrong. And that's what AOC is using as a predicate for, we have to impeach them. They're all corrupt.